Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 340. Meeple Nation October News.
Welcome, citizens of Meeple Nation. For the next 30 minutes, sit back and enjoy.
Meeple Nation is brought to you by GameToppersLLC.com. If you would like to improve your game night and take it to the next level, we recommend you get online and check out GameToppersLLC.com. They have game toppers that will fit on pretty much any table, all different sizes. They have different mats to customize your game table. They are gorgeous. We highly recommend it. We love the game toppers that we use. GameToppersLLC.com. Check them out.
Bringing you all that wonderful news and wonderful new games to salivate over and to purchase and get your wives mad at you is us, Meeple Nation. I am Logan Howard.
I'm Andy Holliday.
I'm Nathan Howard.
And I'm Dave Holliday.
As Logan alluded to, we're talking news. Probably going to talk Kickstarters. Probably going to talk new games that are out. I think we got a long list of Kickstarters that we're going to be talking about this week.
We have my new favorite segment of new games that I've played this month.
Oh, yes. Why don't you kick us off on that?
So I was able to make it to the holidays. They've invited me for a couple weeks, and this was the first week I went, and we had lots of fun. We played Reavers of Midgard. Is it multiple or singular?
Reavers of Midgard, yep.
Yeah, Reavers of Midgard.
That was the new one you got, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a worker placement. I actually super enjoyed it. No, not worker placement. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was follow action.
Yep, it's a follow action game. It's kind of a worker placement follow action game.
Super enjoyed it. I thought the theme worked out well. I loved all the cards. I lost horribly, both David and Andy, but I still felt okay about myself.
You didn't damage your self-esteem?
No. I felt respectable. Looking at their scores, I felt super sad, so I just looked at mine a little bit more and called it good.
If you put on your blinders and only look at my score, it's not 0, so it's okay.
You almost went around the score track twice.
Yeah, I was just a few points short. And for being my first time playing, but I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, you did well.
It's a fun game. I can't wait for you to get a chance to play it, Nathan.
I'm looking forward to it.
And then I also played Forgotten Waters for the first time, and what a great game that is. It's a semi-co-op campaign adventure game with pirates, Mad Lib sort of thing thrown into it. Holy crap, the writers of that game, they deserve awards. If they haven't got one, they should get one. They did such a great game.
Been listening to some of the stories that you guys have been sharing about your experience. It is definitely something that I'm excited to play.
And they have the app listen to us narrate it. The energy and sound effects that they have with it, the actors that they had read it, super cheesy, super hilarious. It's a fun game. Can't wait to finish our part 2 of part 1 game.
Yeah, that's the other nice thing about it is it's a campaign. So you go through the campaign and it's a 2-part campaign. It lasts about 2 to 3 hours. Nice. So it's about a 6-hour campaign, and they have several different campaigns on the app that you can choose from. The nice thing is okay, you've ended part 1 and you can start up again on another day. So you don't have to play for 6 hours if you don't have time to play for 6 hours.
Just the playability of not necessarily we can only play 6 times, but okay, you've explored this island, flip to this page in this book, read what happens. A or B. Last time we chose A, so let's discover B. It's, we discovered this island. What is it? Oh, holy crap. Something horrible happened. How do we survive?
Talk about games like Betrayal at House on the Hill. We've been playing Betrayal Legacy. The variability of when the haunt happens and how the haunt happens and how it's different. It's not just, this is when the haunt happens and this is what happens. It depends on where the players are in the game, who that player is, what item or heirloom they may be holding. Really enjoyed that variability. Even something like a legacy game, Betrayal Legacy, gives you that opportunity that you could play it again and have an amazing experience playing it again.
And a different experience, which I think makes it strong as far as that goes. Kind of along the lines Logan was saying, even if you played the same campaign a second time, your journey to the different features on the map, permanent features for that campaign, your journey there is going to be different every time because you have random exploration tiles that come into play. That's where a lot of the game and story is told through those exploration tiles. You'll play a different game and have a different experience, even if you play the same campaign. And like I said, I don't know how many campaigns they have, maybe 4 up to this point on their site, but very well done game.
And super fun and lots of laughs. Holy cow, we laughed. Both times we've played it so far.
In fact, I felt bad for Andy's daughter, Amara. We were playing so late.
She was falling asleep.
Awake just enough time to roll the dice and go back to sleep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Another new game that actually all of us have played, it's an older game but new to us, but that was Xia, Legends of a Drift System, which is something that I'm hoping that we're going to talk more later I found this game to be very enjoyable. The ability to expand and explore all over the place. I'm looking forward to playing it more often.
I am as well. I don't remember anything about it, except that we need to do this one again. This is really fun.
We only played to 5 points, which it suggested as your first game to only play to 5 points to kind of try to get everybody used to it.
Get your feet wet.
Yeah. You decide before you're playing the game that you're going to play to 5, 10, 15, or 20 points. It took forever to get us getting points, but then as soon as people started to get points, the game was over before I was ready for the game to be over.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I was actually surprised how quickly the map grew with as much exploring that was going on. By the time that we got to the map to where things were out that we wanted to start filling things, like you said, the game was over. So I think we need to play it again before we all forget the game so we don't have to play to 5 points again. We can actually play to 10 or 15 points.
For sure.
But also this time of year, we are battling against Nathan's 10 for 10.
That's true.
Speaking of my 10 for 10.
Well, before you go on with your 10 for 10, when I was doing research to put up our show notes, it's something that's actually really big in the community for this game is modding. Something that you typically hear with like a computer game. I like this game, but I'm going to change this one aspect. Apparently, they have this whole adding new ships, new rules just for this game. I'll have to bring some of that stuff out for when we play it again.
This is underground. Did you find that on the dark web?
Not the dark web, more like the dark side of BGG. So like,
oh, okay.
I'll have to take that with a grain of salt, because I'm definitely very hesitant of house rules.
That's what gives me a little bit better feeling about these. They actually have like a whole forum page about it. It's not just, oh, hey guys, I do this.
I'll have to look at it for sure, because I've had a group of people that used to get together on lunch to play games, and they'd play Coup. Going way back, almost 6 years ago, Coup was our first episode on Meeple Nation. They have a house rule. Once a role has been revealed, it gets shuffled back in. Part of that game is once a role is eliminated, it makes it easier to deduce who is bluffing and who is not bluffing.
Because of bigger risk of saying, if I have a duke, if there's two dukes revealed, okay, are you sure?
Their house rule, and they felt that it was more fun, that once a roll was eliminated, it was put in the pile, could be then redealt to somebody else. First time I was playing this, I was like, this is whack. You take the whole deduction element out of the game, throwing it out the window. I played with them one more time, and then I was like, nope. This is dumb. And they made rules for a reason, because I play tested it. Not every game's perfect. I get that. My experience with that, Logan, I have red flags going off when people start talking about house rules. But if they have a whole forum that's dedicated to it, and maybe it's more sanctioned by maybe some of the designers.
It's definitely something interesting, just because the term that they used, modding, it was very different than house rule. That's what leaned me towards, oh wow, that's actually kind of interesting, instead of, ugh. Kind of how you felt about it.
Right.
Because really, that's one of my big complaints with games like Monopoly. I hate Monopoly. Not a great game in my opinion. But it's a better game when you play by the rules.
For sure. Doesn't last 16 hours.
Which is a definite plus.
I would actually agree in this case that shortening a game is the way to go.
With Monopoly?
With Monopoly. I think that may be the first time I've ever said that.
So Nathan, what about Marvel Champions?
So yeah, going back to my 10 for 10... Marvel Champions is now off my 10 for 10. I've completed my 10 plays. Not too far back was the release of The Rise of the Red Skull. It was a fun campaign. It had 5 scenarios that you went through that were all linked together. But you have to begin with the same heroes, and those same heroes have to play through the whole campaign. There's some cards that, while you're playing that campaign, will carry over from game to game, which was a fun little touch. The experience was very well done. You start off by fighting against Crossbones, then you go to Absorbing Man, and then Taskmaster, MODOK battling against the Red Skull at the end. It was a great experience. I thought it was a very well done for a small little box to add this 5-run campaign. It also introduced Spider-Woman and Hawkeye as playable heroes.
Correct me if I'm wrong with that game, because when I played it before, they didn't have a scenario with the initial release.
The core game box has a battle against Rhino, Ultron, and totally drawn a blank on the third person. But you can battle those 3 villains. There's also the Wrecking Crew set. And the Wrecking Crew was go through and you battle against all 4 of the Wrecking Crew.
I actually kind of really like that for a release, because I was really worried for the game at first that it was just a nerd tax. If they're doing the mini scenarios, that actually makes the game much more appealing to me, instead of just infinite releases of, here's a new character.
There's a new set that's very similar to the Rise of the Red Skull, with the next villain box that's coming out, titled The Once and Future King. and Kang the Conqueror comes to Earth to battle against the Avengers numerous times. I love the title, The Once and Future Kang. I'm looking forward to that. That should be coming out this October if it's not out already. Looking forward to that. New content there, coming out with some regular content, adding more heroes. I've outgrown its box. It's one of those games that you're going to either have to get a bigger box to put it in or one of those artist case and put a broken token insert in there. Andy, you said you hadn't played it. Next year, after we get through some of these other ones.
Yep, for sure.
We'll add it and we'll play it for sure.
You know, you mentioned that your concern was that they just slapped a skin on it. It was going to be kind of a blog game. I always have that concern whenever anything Marvel, Star Wars, anything that interests me. That's always my concern. Is this going to be something that is just going to be look cool, or it's Star Wars or Marvel or something like that, but the game is just going to be a flop? Speaking of that, I got to play Imperial Assault, Star Wars Imperial Assault, for the first time this week. Using
so
the
you
app.
haven't played it at all?
I've never played it.
Whoa. We gotta fix that for sure.
See, I didn't realize that. I just thought that you hadn't played it with the app or something.
I've
yet.
never played it. It was my very first time playing this week.
So proud of you. I feel like I should have a gold star sticker for you now.
I don't know that I would say I'm proud of you. I'm more disappointed that I didn't get to play with you.
I can relate, Dave. I enjoy Star Wars Imperial Assault.
Well, it was just
immensely.
the tutorial, so we still can all play the campaign. It was me trying to learn the game is really what it was. I went through all 3 scenarios on the tutorial to learn it, and yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
The app is fun.
It is.
I played just the first scenario that they released. I still enjoyed it. It still plays very different than it does when you're playing through a regular campaign, when one player is playing the dark side. The game is great. I love it. I'm super jealous that this was your first time playing it.
Yeah.
And you did it by yourself? Nathan wanted to see the look of joy on your face as you're playing for the first time.
I didn't play by myself. Amara did play with me. We did a little 2-player through the tutorial, and she's been bugging me to play it ever since. So
Jump on that. Next year,
yeah,
I'll put Star Wars Imperial Assaults on my 10 for 10 again so we can play it, because I love going through that. Logan, we only played from the core campaign and
It had the Rancor in it, so I figured it was something Hutt related.
Well, that's awesome. I'm super excited for you.
Yeah, it was a good one. I got my first Kickstarter I ever kickstarted. Not my first I've received, but the first game I kickstarted, I actually received that a week and a half ago. It's a game called Folklore. I did a solo playthrough on that, tried to learn the rules, and it's a campaign game as well. It looks like it is going to be so much stinking fun.
I've looked at some pictures, read some stuff on this, and I'm excited that you backed it.
The nice thing is for us anyway, is it can go up to 5 players.
That makes it far more accessible.
You condensed it down from like 7 boxes to 6.
That's true. It came with a lot of boxes, but as Nathan says, Kickstarters come with lots of miniatures, and this one came with a ton of miniatures.
Oh, so it was a
Good looking
true
miniatures, too.
Kickstarter game.
It was a true Kickstarter
Miniatures
game.
galore.
It came with a creature crate. It's a gorgeous game. There's lots of different characters you can be. There's lots of different monsters. There's, I believe, 4 different campaign books. It's going to be a fun one.
Well, we've talked a lot about what we've been playing recently. Section is actually starting to take so much more time, which I enjoy. I enjoy talking about these games.
It's my new favorite section.
I think I'm right there with you, Logan. Andy, talking about your Kickstarters, let's talk about some active Kickstarters.
So, Nathan, one game that I was really excited that you backed, because I'm pretty sure it was the game that we already kind of played, was Dinosaur Island, and you backed Dinosaur World?
Coming out is Dinosaur World and Dinosaur Island Rawr and Right. This ends on October 16th.
So, random question. Dinosaur World, is it kind of like Jurassic World, where now they have a part, and now the dinosaurs are escaping? Like, does it have anything to play off of the words with that?
I'm sure it does. In introducing Dinosaur World, the chaotic throngs of amusement park adrenaline junkies and crafty hoodlums have long been silent. The dream of billion-dollar theme parks came crashing to a halt after waves of class action lawsuits, pushing owners to bankruptcy and permanent closure. I think you're exactly right, Logan. You had Dinosaur Island, and you had dinosaurs that if they could escape, eat your patrons, had that whole experience with the Jurassic Park movie. Sure enough, in Jurassic World, they're back to running a park again. The recently opened Dinosaur World, you're organizing your island, trying to contain your dinosaurs and score points. The board's different. You have a hex board where you're adding your parks and your enclosures. The pieces look really good. You're going to have a lot of those same themes. So you have shaped dinosaurs, except for these dinosaurs aren't just the cute pink cutout shape. shapes. There's actually pictures on these. You won't be able to put googly eyes on these ones like Barb did with her copy. But the pieces look really good, and your starting marker, which I think is kind of funny, a start player starts off with a token that's shaped like amber with a mosquito that's stuck inside. Plays off that whole Jurassic without being Jurassic.
So this kind of goes off of what Andy was talking about earlier with his worry about Star Wars and Marvel, to them just slapping things on. Jurassic Park has been a big deal with movies since the 90s, and so I like that they made a good game based off of it instead of just a game that has Jurassic or dinosaur on it.
You ran into the same thing with Nemesis. I think it's Gale Force 9 that has an Aliens game. It's tough when you have a game like Nemesis and to have another game when you're thinking, playing this, but we should have been playing Nemesis. I don't have any experience with this Aliens game, so I can't really even say that, but just that's in the back of my mind, so I'm kind of stuck on that.
That you already have an Alien game that you're happy with?
Yeah, that you have an Alien game that I'm happy with, yeah.
Well, thank you, Nathan.
That's soon to be bigger.
Yeah, thank you for your foresight.
I bought this, and I said, Logan's going to want this.
If you've listened to us talk about Dinosaur Island in the past, you know how much we all loved it. This Kickstarter, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be awesome.
You have your little Jeep that you're driving around, going straight from the Jurassic movies. They incorporate. It's going to be a great game. And the roll and write, I actually haven't even read anything on the roll and write, but...
You were convinced with the raw and right? You're like, you done it. You won. Here's my money. Just take it.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny, but you are absolutely right. It didn't add that much more to add the roll and write, or the raw and write, but the fact that it's just called the raw and write, I was sold.
Well, and Nathan, you're a big fan of the roll and writes anyway. That as well. Together, I can totally see that.
Dinosaur World, and that ends on October 16th. Check that out.
So a question before I go into it. The Thing, the board game, reading it, I'm looking at it, it looks just like Outpost 31.
Since we're talking about that, and we just got through comparing Nemesis and Aliens, 100% with you. I look at the board. This board layout looks just like Outpost 31.
So I click on the Kickstarter. I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, I like Outpost 31. Maybe this is just a new version. Maybe they fixed some issues. Looking at the pictures. Wait a second. This looks just like a game I've already played. Reading it, I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure this is not from the makers of Outpost 31.
The hidden role in it, I think, is done a little bit better than Outpost 31. I'm intrigued by it. I'm not necessarily backing it because it looks too similar to Outpost 31. It's a hidden role. If you're the infected player, you're trying to make sure that you get on the helicopter to get out of the Arctic, which is all very similar to the book and or the movie with one of my favorite actors, Kurt Russell, because he was Jack Burton. All that nostalgia that's based in the movie is there, along with some of the story that's in the book. It's still worth checking out for sure. It's one of those things. Am I going to play Outpost 31 or am I going to play The Thing? It depends on which one's better. I might regret not backing The Thing. It might be a far more exceptional game. Check it out. If you don't have Infection at Outpost 31. Have you guys played that? Andy, have you played it? I
have not.
Nope.
Neither of you played it? It's a fun game. You guys wouldn't like it. It's a game I really enjoy. Looking to get
definitely something to look at. And if you don't have that Post 31, like you were saying, Nathan, like it is something to consider. Only a few miniatures, not a whole crate, but they have a few miniatures and they look really good. It ends October 14th, so you only have about a week to look at it and ponder.
On Kickstarter, something I'm kind of excited about. Okay, I'm really excited about it, but it's not a game. When I saw this, I was just, oh my goodness. Ice Dice. A Kickstarter for a silicone-based ice mold that creates the perfect dice-shaped ice cubes to cool your drinks on game nights.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, if you're going to have ice drinks at your game table, why not have them dice-shaped?
I am so excited to have my little ice cube tray in my freezer full of, it's a full set, D4, D6, D8, D10,
so you can play
D10s,
your
D12,
D&D
and 20.
outside, like you can take it on the road and play it at the pond in the middle of winter.
The best thing about it is we get to turn the AC full blast now so that we can keep our dice from melting, right? Although there's some comments on here that they posted. Somebody's like, one of the best things is when your dice aren't treating you right, you just let them melt. Like, I'll treat you.
Sounds like Logan would do.
I think I put regular dice in the freezer so that they learn to behave.
That's why I think this would maybe have been inspired by Logan.
Wow, I just put it out there in the universe and universe responds to me.
This one has me really excited. I talk all the time about loving dice and games with dice. This is just too cool.
Too cool.
Get it?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
I see.
I'm not sure to laugh or roll my eyes, but yeah.
Roll your eyes.
Oh
my goodness.
Do both, Nathan. That's what the great thing about these types of jokes are. Like, oh, I can't believe you said that.
This Kickstarter closes, so go out and get your ice dice.
So a little nostalgia, if any of you are in the mood for some nostalgia, this isn't necessarily a Kickstarter, but deep inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters.
Whoa, a quest?
A quest.
Do you take heroes on this quest?
You do indeed. This is Hero Quest, the fantasy adventure game, where winning means mastering the art of combat and magic. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. This one's close to my heart. This is the game that got me into board gaming, and they're re-releasing it, and it's going on right now. There's 2 tiers. You just get the base game. You get bonus miniatures. They actually have female versions of the heroes.
Awesome.
They have female versions of each of the heroes. Also, bonus content, so it's kind of like a Kickstarter. This is actually on HasbroPlus.com. There's another tier that you get more expansions as well and some additional content. Super excited about this one. I think I'm going to have to back this one. It's already funded, so it's a go. They needed to fund $1 million, and I think they funded $1 million in less than 24 hours.
So this is not a Kickstarter, but it's the same idea. It
Same
works
idea.
the same way, right? But it's just on their own website.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
It's Hasbro Plus.
Nice.
Hasbro Pulse.
Those are the types of people that I kind of think shouldn't do Kickstarters. You're a big company. You can just put it out there, absorb the risk, and put the game out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is now.
I mean, that's probably was their full intention anyways. But the same thing with a lot of Kickstarter games. We think this game is going to be great. Does the public also think that? They may have had full intentions to do this, but this announcement, the way they did announcement, generates hype. It generates momentum for it. It generates a lot of opportunities for people to buy it. Everything Epic did the same thing with Big Trouble in Little China, the game. They didn't do a Kickstarter. It was announced, and you could do a pre-order. And once they hit that pre-order threshold, then they're like, woohoo, we're good.
And I imagine it allows them to do the extra content. If they did all of the content that they wanted to do, it might price the game high enough that a lot of people who would normally want to buy the game would shy away from it because of all that extra stuff. Doing it this way, I think it allows them to be more comfortable saying, you know what, we can make all this extra content for the game if we meet these goals.
It's good for them because it's a good business model because they're not risking anything.
Right.
But at the same time, there's a lot of smaller game companies that thrive on Kickstarter because they actually put out a good game, and that's how they start their brand, right? City of Games came out with City of Kings. Great game. We loved it. So when they came out with their Kickstarter of Isle of Cats, I was already intrigued enough to risk it and be like, okay, this sounds like it's going to be a great game. And guess what? Isle of Cats is a great game.
It is a great game.
But when you have those bigger companies doing the same thing taken away from the smaller companies just have to pay attention. We're going to launch our Kickstarter, make sure no big games sucking up all the space. Okay, now we'll do it.
And that's a gamble with Kickstarter. You have movie companies that are always worried about the gamble of when they're going to release their summer blockbuster. Are they going to be fighting against a Star Wars release, a Marvel release? Like if a Harry Potter movie came out or John Wick, you're competing against those things that you know are going to be making more money. But the thing is, with the board game hobby, we're not talking blockbuster movie earnings. But some of these big games are out there. Unless you're releasing a game like Nemesis and Aliens at the same time, or The Thing and Infection at Outpost 31. But unless you're competing against a title that's almost identical to itself, I think there's enough variety of gamers out there. There's plenty of opportunities for all the games to be winners.
I think that's true. I don't necessarily think it takes away from the smaller companies. I mean, it's not like when I'm looking at Kickstarters, I don't think, okay, I've got $200 burning a hole in my pocket. What am I going to buy? It's more of I'm looking through Kickstarters and is there anything worth me spending money on? And
Absolutely.
A lot of times, no, there's not anything that I'm interested in. Once in a while, something that'll just really spike my interest, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to back that. I mean, it's not like I have spent $150 a month on Kickstarter. What am I going to buy? And I don't know if other gamers have that. I would imagine not.
Wow, your wallet likes you a whole lot better than I like mine. I am so much easily like, oh, that looks good. Ooh, that looks good too.
I'm probably more relation to you, Logan, than I am to Andy too. It's because, like, ooh, I want to try that.
Because I go through Kickstarter for the news and my wallet hates me every single time.
Yes. Yeah, without fail, backed 2-3 games. When we talk about the news, Dinosaur Island, Dinosaur Rar and Right.
And that's why I'm actually more appreciative of the smaller releases on Kickstarter, because they're more easily digestible because they're a smaller release, and so they have that smaller price tag. If it's only $35 to kickstart, I'm so much more interested than, oh, this one's going to be $250, because I'm like, ooh, is it going to be that cool?
Some games that I'm really excited about, but I'm not going to spend the Kickstarter bucks. I will wait till it comes to a shelf release. Maybe look for it in a swap or something like that.
Yeah, when we have SaltCon again, that way we're able to...
You had to bring up SaltCon. Sad news. SaltCon Spring 2021 is officially canceled.
Should we do a moment of silence?
We should do a moment of silence. But, yeah. We talked way too much about things we were playing. What are some other Kickstarters that are out there that you guys are excited about? For me, there's another expansion for Thunderstone.
Thunderstone Quest.
Thunderstone Quest, which I am very much interested in. But I haven't played the last expansion, so I'm not going to be back in that anytime soon. I'm very excited for it. I think Thunderstone does a really good job. Maybe I need to put that on my 10 for 10 next year so we can get that played, which actually might become a reality.
I may back that one.
Oh, good.
It's not a Kickstarter, but Naughty Games, video game company. Last of Us is a very popular zombie-themed video game. They announced on Last of Us Day. I guess it's an important day in the video game. But they announced a board game that they're doing for it, too. It could be interesting. I get worried when like we were talking about earlier, just throw something out there that's similar. So hopefully it's something where it's Dead of Winter-ish, where it's a very interesting, very compelling type game instead of just, well, this is Monopoly and we just threw zombies on there. Last of Us.
One that looks pretty cool called Machina Arcana to Eternity. It looks really cool. It's a tactical cooperative horror adventure for 1 to 4 players. And one of the things that really piques my interest about it is it says that it provides an awesome storytelling experience. So a lot of the games that I'm really liking lately have a storytelling component to them. That has me a little excited.
I've decided more and more that that's a huge part of my campaign enjoyment, that story. And in legacy games, it's that story. Mm-hmm. As long as the story is compelling, I'm all in.
Yeah, this game really does look like a lot of fun. The art on it looks amazing. One of us should back it.
Somebody should back it.
Somebody should back it.
One that ends, I think, yesterday from time of recording. Davy Jones' Locker Puzzle Box. It's only like $35. It's an escape room in a box. It's super interesting. They did a whole bunch of intriguing puzzles with it. It's something that immediately grabbed my attention, and I just wish there was more time. So if there's back room to... I don't know what the back door's called. I always hate this.
Late pledge.
If there's some sort of late pledge, you should definitely check it out.
So there's several new release games as well. Some of them are definitely worth mentioning. Clank Adventuring Party.
My new copy's sitting right over there. Excited for that.
Always love me some more Clank. So this one expands it to 5-6 players.
Which is awesome. I'm so looking forward to Clank in Space with 5 and 6 players.
I was going to say,
Hope
that's
they
like
do that.
Best thing I've ever heard for Clank.
The other thing that I love about it is it also, everybody can have a unique character. There's a dwarf, an elf, an orc, a monkey bot, some asymmetrical starting as unique characters.
So one last one, The Seventh Citadel is out. Anybody who was a fan of The Seventh Continent, this is going to be right up that same alley. Ends on October 15th, so you got just over a week to back that one.
Lots of good stuff. This has been a good episode. A lot of stuff to look forward to. Good month for the news.
This is always the most expensive night.
Until next time.
We'll see you at the game table. I'm going to be sad at the game table because I spent all my money on Kickstarter.
You're going to be glad at the game table because you spent all your money on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You're going to be sad at the dinner table when
Yes.
your wife finds out you spent all your money on Kickstarter.